You may have noticed that I've had a haircut. And while I was there, as you do with your hairdresser, you chat. And as she was a very happy client of mine from a previous role, then we got some very reciprocal, helpful service. And we discussed this book, which I've just read. Admittedly, it's been on my shelf for 20 years, and we were deciding, do we give it to family or do we give it to a relative? And we thought we'd better read it first. So, the first chapter is the obvious one, compound interest. As Warren Buffett says, the eighth wonder of the world: start early, start today, get started. And just recently, in fact, as we had the internet down due to a lightning strike at the front gate, then the technician who came up, it was a young fellow, younger than 30. We mentioned what we had previously enjoyed as a profession. And among other things, he said that yes, he had started because his father, a chippy, had advised him to get started early as. And when I mentioned gold and Bitcoin, he says, oh yes, I have plenty of crypto. Not that I'm giving any advice on that, but starting early was key number one. And then there's the usual suspects in here. Chapter 2 or Chapter 3 talks about real estate, where you're always going to be talking in Australia and New Zealand about real estate. You know, prices go up faster than your annual salary. And the stock market at an all high and people queuing around the block for gold. Well, yes, there are always other alternatives. But what gets mentioned in here in Chapter 6, and what I have been mentioning, if you read any of our posts on various social media sites, that we advocate a small business. Why? Because you can get the flick any time. In fact, another relative who's very well qualified as an architect, in the last 1 year has been made redundant twice. You never know when you're going to get the flick, and there's somebody getting retrenched every day. So your best insurance policy, in my opinion, is to start your own business today. Now, it's a business. You can go self-employed, but then you're just earning your own wages. To have a business, you've got to have employees. And of course that takes, because we're in Australia, heaps of taxes, heaps of ongoing costs, rent, You really want a low-cost business. So we certainly have an idea. And you can PM me for a copy of the Cashflow Quadrant, which I might have somewhere handy. I don't. But the whole point is to have multiple streams of income. So give us a buzz and we can expand further. Your own business, suppose it's earning $1,000 a month or $10,000 a year. Well, at 5%, that's worth 200 grand. And as I mentioned, this very good client and hairdresser, I mentioned that I'm still getting residual income from business I did 40 years ago. Admittedly, that was in financial services. But 40 years ago, still getting a useful check with at least 200 or 400 or a multiple of. That's capital value. Give us a call.